What is up? My name is Shane Butler, and I'm the owner of Reuzel Barbershop in Old Forge, Pennsylvania, and today I'm going to be doing my audition to be a Scumbassador. So today on Owen, we're going to be doing a naturally parted haircut with combable sides. He has a little bit of buildup in his hair from stuff that he had in earlier, so I'm going to be using some of the spray tonic in my water bottle, just a little bit, and that kind of helps me break down what he's got going on in there, and it gives me a little bit of control. It makes the hair a little bit sticky. So as I'm making partings and going through, it's gonna kind of hold it into place for me. With these partings, we wanna take his head shape into account. So when we're looking at it from the front, we wanna see what the parietal ridge looks like in terms of where the hair is falling to. So we wanna do more of a box up shape, kind of similar to like a grown out flat top. And also in the back, we wanna look at where the occipital is laying. So when we're doing this guideline, we don't wanna do any straight lines because the eye picks that up much quicker than a bend. So we're gonna drop the bend down a little below the occipital bone, and we're gonna do the entire blend boxed up. You wanna be mindful to fully saturate the base of the hair because the scalp produces body heat. So you wanna make sure that you keep it wet because it'll dry much quicker. So we're gonna start by cutting the first guideline in. We're gonna pull the hair up, and my flat top comb is coming a little outward. We don't wanna go into the head, we want this blend to be boxy. Follow that guide. We're gonna move it down underneath the occipital. And if you start to get lost about where your guide is, you can comb all of this hair up and you'll see where that guide starts to stick out. You also always want to be mindful of body positioning. So wherever I'm cutting, I want to be right here with it. So same thing on the other side. We're going to wet the hair down again and just start our parting from the natural corner. So when you start following the parting into the crown area, you kind of want to see the shape that his head wants to go with. So it could be either, triangular shape or rounded. And I'm always going to drop it a little bit. So it's going to look like a horseshoe if you're looking at it from the top. But this section, we're gonna drop it down a little bit just to give me a little bit of freedom to make sure it's gonna lay how I want it to. So again, we're just gonna follow that guideline that we already started. And I'm not too worried about what's going on underneath this baseline because when we go in and start kind of fading it out, it's going to be cut anyway. So I'm just kind of knocking out bulk as I get lower. So I'm going to start fading the haircut. We did our baseline with the combable hair that we want to keep. So I'm just going to clip up all of the hair on top because I'm going to get into that later. So when we do our fade, we're going to go from the bottom up. That allows me to kind of set my guidelines according to what his hair and his head shape wants me to do. You always want it to be as catered to the client's head as you can make it. So bottom up is my way of doing that. So I'm gonna be starting at a 0. So I'm gonna do close, oh fuck. All right, so we're gonna start at a 0. So my clipper is closed and I'm gonna start right at the top of the ear, but we're gonna make a bend to cater to the head shape. So his parietal ridge comes out a little bit, so we wanna keep it below that so we could blend up still boxy. So we're gonna come down and around and drop it below that occipital. Right now, I'm just getting rid of a little bit of that weight from the beard. So I'm open and I'm kind of hovering above the skin and closing it slowly as I go to blend it into that 0. So I'm gonna be doing the same exact step. I'm gonna follow that guideline that I set in, and I'm gonna go in with my clipper open, and we're gonna fade down. I'm gonna be doing the same thing Open clipper with the 0 on. We're gonna go a little bit higher and close it as we fade back down. Again, same step, open with my 1 guard on. I'm gonna blend this into where I did my clipper over comb to make that original guideline. So I'm gonna flick a little bit so I have a little more wiggle room when I'm doing that blend. Flick. Check from the front, and you could use your comb to see if your guideline's in the same spot on both sides. I'm gonna start outlining the haircut. You don't wanna go too high above the ear. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the ear back and use the corner of my outliner and just make a crescent moon shape onto there. And then I'm gonna do another one here and just keep connecting the dots around. You want to keep it as close to the natural hairline as you can. When you're outlining, I like to get the fine end of the comb and I comb all of the hair forward that's coming off of the hairline. So I pull it forward and I feed it into my outliner. You want to taper as much as you can while still making it look natural, but it's gonna set them up for the haircut to grow in a little bit nicer. So I'm gonna wet the hair down around the perimeter, and I'm just gonna clipper over comb where I left that weight into where I did the fade. And again, when we do this, I want my comb to be coming out. We wanna run it straight up. And again, we're dropping the guide down a little bit where the occipital bone is. We want to leave a little more weight back there to make sure that the hair is going to lay accordingly. So I have the sides blended how I want it. So I'm going to take out the long hair and I'm going to start scissor cutting that. When we're cutting it, we want to leave the front a little bit longer and we want to kind of angle it into the back. Again, I have the grooming tonic in my spray bottle mixed with the water. He had a little bit of product in this morning, so the tonic is really good for breaking up whatever is in there, and it's also going to give me a little bit more control as I'm cutting. Right now, I'm going to make sure that the long hair on the top blends into the crown. So you can see my first guide and my second guide. So we're gonna connect that. So we just got done tying the top into the sides. So I wanna start blow drying it. I'm gonna put in the grooming tonic, as we all probably know at this point. Again, it helps break up whatever is in the hair and it makes the hair just a little bit stickier. But it's also forgiving, so as I go through and I blow dry, it's not gonna hinder me. It also helps with giving it a lot of lift. Another thing that I'm gonna be putting in is a little bit of the Reuzel grooming cream. Not a lot, just a little bit. The grooming cream mixed with the grooming tonic, it's one of my favorite combinations before I'm about to blow dry. Again, this will just give me a little more control and it'll kind of let me shape the hair how I want it before I start putting the pomade in. So when I go in and I blow dry, I want to use my fingers first, and I just want to get everything through the hair, scalp to ends, just to make sure it's completely through. Then I'm gonna go through with my vent brush and give it like a little bit of lift and break up the product, and then I'll go through with my Denman brush and kind of shape it up a little bit. something that'll help give you a little bit of lift, just have your client look down a little bit when you're blow drying the front. You want to do that at the end, and you'll kind of let gravity do its thing for you. You don't have to work as hard with the blow dryer. So at this point, we kind of want to decide how high we want to style the front. So we can go with the Denman brush and make it a little bit tighter, or we could pump it up a little bit. I'm going to give it a little bit of height. So I'm going to style this with the Reuzel Pink. It's a grease based and it's incredibly forgiving when you're styling the hair. It gives it that nice shine, and it's also just easy to work with. It's a little hard to wash out of your hair given that it's a grease base. So I'm gonna go in with just a little bit of the blue pomade first. I'm doing this because it's a water soluble pomade. So I just wanna coat the hair strand with a little bit of the blue first, and then I'm gonna go in with the pink. And it just kinda helps break it up a little bit. And it's a really good combination. And again, I'm not gonna saturate the entire head here. I'm just gonna kinda work the top of the haircut. So when I put the pink in, there's already a little bit of control and shine here. And by coating this, it's gonna come out a lot easier because the grease base can be a little difficult to get out. Let me also say, I love that the Reuzel is just in a tin. It's fucking old school and I appreciate that. You can kind of beat the can up and it just looks cool still. And when you're getting it, make sure you work out whatever is in the palms. You don't want to make a bigger goop in like just one spot of the hair. Make sure it's consistent. Okay, so with the Denman brush, given that it has finer teeth, we worked all that pomade through. You want to make sure the crown is laying accordingly, and you don't want to worry about styling the front until the very end. Because if you go through and try to style the front at the beginning, you're going to mess it all up when you start going into the back areas. So after the haircut, I'm gonna be doing the beard trim. Well, I fucking did the haircut. I did the haircut, so I'm gonna go in and do the beard trim. He wants to keep as much of the shape as we can, as full as we can. So I'm just gonna pull the hair out with my pick, comb it all outward, and I'm gonna shape it into as much of that as I can keep. So the ideal head shape is an oval. So looking at him from the front, we gave him a little bit of height here. So if you leave a little length down here, it's gonna help give me that oval appearance. I'm gonna go in with my clipper closed, and this is gonna be all freehand. And I'm gonna plant my finger on his chest as an anchor, just so I have a little more control. Because if I start going through here without giving myself a little bit of an anchorage point, I have a higher chance of taking a huge hole out of his chin. And we don't wanna do that. And since he has a light beard, I put a dark cape on him. So when I look past the hair, I can see the negative space that's being made there. So I can see every little hair. Again, looking past the beard, using the wall, past Owen. How much soul do you want on that patch? Can I take some out?
Yeah.
Cool. When you're doing a mustache trim, don't take it too far off the lip. There's a really fine line between tasteful and creepy. So we're just gonna take it right off. Okay, I'm going to just razor his cheeks quick to give them a sharp line. Always use a fresh blade. So to finish this haircut, I'm gonna be doing a neck shave And I'm going to be using the Reuzel aftershave. It's got a great fucking scent, and it just makes for a nice finish. Oh my God, it smells wonderful. Oh, everybody. Is that what? The beard's cool? Very cool. Cool with it? Oh yeah. Thanks, buddy. So this is my naturally parted pompadour with combable sides. Again, I use the grooming tonic and the grooming cream to help me blow dry the hair into a nice shape. I use a little bit of the blue pomade as a coating because it's a water-based pomade, and I put the pink over that. I like the pink for the, it's really easy to work with throughout the day, but it's grease-based, so the blue's just gonna help wash that out a little bit easier for him. Again, thank you for watching, and thank you for considering me.
I think we're good.
Thanks, bud. Thanks, Owen.